Good morning, friends. Happy Tuesday. I have a little story to tell you, so I thought I would just dive right in. Maybe you can just save it for later, watch it later when you have a little bit of time. Um, I want to share with you some things that have been going on in our family over the past couple weeks in the hope that it encourages you, maybe for something that you are going through, or your family, or yourself, your own personal walk. So this one is about our little baby Liam. I know we've said enough about him and all these stories about him. Sorry, computer's going off. But it's a really important story for you to know. So I'm hoping it will help you along the way. So Liam's had a lot of things happen to him over the past couple weeks. Even if he was just one of my bio kids, or non-trauma, non-triggered kids, it would have been a lot for any child to handle. And so what happened was, over the past few weeks, within the last 2 weeks, literally like 5 huge things have happened to him, like a trauma, a trigger, a something. We started out with a sibling visit, which was the first time he had seen his brothers in months and months. And some of that was due to the pandemic, and some of that was due to the fact that our family could just not sustain the grief and the trauma of the kids, what goes into a visit and what happens after a visit. It was just too much. And so we had to hold off for a little while, and we knew some birthdays were coming, and we thought maybe that would be a good time to try again. 2 of the boys have birthdays at the end of September. So we thought, let's just get through school, let's get through starting school, and we got to start soccer for the first time this year. The 3 little kids got to all go on a soccer team, which is super cute. A lot of running and a lot of crazy, but it's been very good for them. And so we wanted to get school started, get soccer situated, and then bring in the visit. So it was really wonderful to see the kids come together and see these families work so hard to make a special day for these siblings to be together. It was really special. It was really neat, the way that they love each other, the way that they work together, their similarities, their differences, the way that they've grown, and even just 6 months, or I can't remember how long exactly it's been since they have. Hey Abby, want to join the live?
No.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
You know what?
I know, but I can't help you. I'm not sure what you want. I'm literally on live right now.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, so
How much longer are you gonna
maybe 10 minutes? Can it wait? Or what? Man, you're letting in all the cold air.
It's like a sauna in here. It's horrible.
Sorry.
I'll come back.
Okay. Anyone with teenagers around here? I think it's a girly problem. I'm not sure, but I think it can wait until I'm done with my story. Okay, so the amazing part of sibling visit is watching them all come together and play together and be together. It was a beautiful thing. Several times I had tears in my eyes, and we were all able to share stories and watch them play together, and all the families come together at a park. It was really beautiful. The flip side of all that is the price that you pay for that to happen. The things that we all go through in order for that to happen. Every foster parent, every adoptive parent has either seen this or walked through it, and this is the hardest part for me about being a part of something like that, is watching watching it all play out in the emotions before and after. So as soon as our kids knew about the visit, was Monday before, and I think I totally made a mistake on that, and I probably should have waited, but little sis was asking and asking and asking, and so I just told her, and before I could explain maybe not to mention it in front of Liam, she did. So Kat was out of the bag, and so for the days before, we started seeing a lot of emotions, a lot of nerves, a lot of anger, A lot of things that we used to see a long time ago and not hadn't seen in quite some time. He was spacing out, disassociative, wasn't home, anxiety, all those things up until the visit. I would talk him off the cliff. Abby would try when she was babysitting, and then it just got progressively worse. Like the week after, a little bit after that, issues. I don't want to tell all of Liam's story or, ever make him feel like I'm shaming him or anything like that. I'm using all of this to prove a point, if you can just hang in there with me a little longer. So when we were seeing all these behaviors, like the hitting and the screaming and the running and things that he used to do a lot, now we would get through it a lot faster than we used to. So whereas sometimes it would turn into like a 4 to 6 hour ordeal, literally, probably this time last year when things were spiking again, we were over it, within half an hour to an hour. So just trying to encourage myself, things are getting better, life is getting better, it's okay, like it's just a flare up and he's facing a lot. So we try to go through, remind ourselves how far we've come and how good he's doing. So I'm just trying to set the stage for you. So what happened literally, less than 2 weeks ago. So the day after this visit, our school got shut down for an entire week. We had gone back to school full time September 8th. So we hadn't even had like 2 full weeks, maybe 2, but they started on a Tuesday. And he was learning to love school, soaring in school. His setup really just to excel. His teacher's perfect for him. The support he's getting is perfect for him. And he's working so hard to do all the things. School was closed for an entire week because there was just too much exposure to the virus, too many families impacted, and they just thought it was better if we froze everything and just kind of self-quarantined and everybody rode out what we were going through, which might have been the best thing. I don't know how he would have done if he had to go back to school the next day, so I don't really know. Just letting you know. Number 2. So sibling visit, school canceled. If any of you have seen our post this week, we had to put our cat down on Wednesday while school's canceled. The cat was just so sick, and we knew it was coming, and we tried to prep the kids for the past 6 weeks or so. We were trying to hang in there and get him meds and stuff to just buy us some more time, spoil him a little bit, let them know what's coming. And by Wednesday, we just couldn't hang in there anymore. He was so sick. He would barely move and wouldn't even let us touch him, hug him, all the things. And so Wednesday afternoon, Tim had to take him to put him down, which is a big deal. Our cat, it had been there for Liam since the beginning, and even when he was naughty, this cat would tolerate him and put up with him. And our cat looked very much like the cat that Liam and Kimber had in their home before they came. It was orange and white. Ours was a little more long hair, but still, there was a connection there, and there was more loss. And if you've already dealt with loss and all the things that come with that, to go through that again, and even in your safe place and all the things, is earth-shattering. So number 3, we had to put our cat down. Then this weekend we had soccer, which is normally his happiest, most favorite thing in the whole wide world. I don't want to get into the super details of it, but I will just let you know there was an incident. The coach was just really frustrated with the kids because they were losing, and they were just all bunching up, and they're 8 years old, and for our 3 kids on the team, this was their first time ever playing soccer. So they haven't even had like 5 practices. It's like 3rd game of the season. They're running. All of them are chasing the ball. It's hilarious if you ask me. We were losing, so I think Coach was a little upset. Well, I'll just kind of give you the abridged version. Hi, Brent. I didn't know if you heard the soccer story or not. This is a soccer story. It's about Liam's crazy last few days. So the coach starts yelling at the kids, like he's really yelling, and he's a big, tall, scary guy. Now in practice, he is wonderful with these kids. Like, Abby didn't even believe me that he was a different person. All she saw from the beginning was him on the field at the game where he was like really yelling at the kids, and she was like, what the heck, these kids are 8 years old. Then she took them to a practice and she sees completely different. He's like encouraging them and working with them and teaching them and training them. So I don't know what happened at the game. It's a good story. I'll have to give you the not abridged version in a little while. He is yelling at these kids, and Liam was on the defense. Liam was kind of like up in with the kids. So this is in between the quarter. He, at their night game in the middle of, so it's dark, it's under the lights, they're so excited and happy, and they know they're losing, but they're just running around playing soccer, and he starts yelling at the kids on the field in public in front of everyone. And Liam was kind of like up with the offense. We didn't see this part, but I guess he grabbed Liam by the arm and pulled him over with the other defense and was yelling. So we saw the yelling part, and then we saw him run, like he just ran to, as soon as the coach dismissed them to go get a drink or whatever, he comes running over. So Tim takes off and has words with the coach and is just explaining, like, we can't yell at the kids. If we had seen him grab Liam, we probably would have packed up the kids and left the game. But because we had 3 kids on the team and there were so few kids at that game, they probably would have had to forfeit and be disqualified. So I think that would be a little embarrassing. So I'm kind of sort of glad, and it helped Liam also face his fears. Like, I could hug him, and I just told him he was so brave, and he's sobbing at me, and I just thought it was because he got yelled at, and I thought he was grabbing his arm because he had fallen in a play a few minutes before, but a kid from the other team helped him up. So it was really cute how that all played out, but now he's holding his arm and he's sobbing, so I'm just hugging him and rubbing his back, and he sees Tim talking to the coach, like, hey buddy, we don't do that, like, you can't yell at these kids, they're 8 years old. So they were exchanging some words, and Liam's watching, he calms down, and he turns around and goes back on that soccer field, and he plays a great game of soccer. He actually used the words to me as I'm like rubbing his back and hugging him and holding on to him. He goes, I am not mad at my coach. I was just scared he was gonna hurt me. So at the height of his crazy fear, trigger, trauma, he was able to use those words. And even in that moment as a parent, I'm like so proud of him. Like, I probably wouldn't have even barely expected that from my other kids, or, my not trauma kids. Or so to hear Liam say something like that just moved me so much. Well, our blood pressure was through the roof for the rest of the game because we're just watching, but he soared through the whole thing, and we talked about it later, and we told him how proud we were, how brave he was, what a good job he did. I mean, he went back to that coach and got his marching orders and went back out on the field. It was incredible. So as parents, we're carrying all of this week. The visit where we kicked off all of that and all the things we've been tripping up on the week before, the week after, school being canceled for a week. So all of a sudden I'm back home again for a week. We're turning everything upside down. I'm triggered from 6 months of staying home with these kids. We have to put our cat to sleep. Then my little boy is getting yelled at on the soccer field. And it's not like I'm going to wave a flag or wear a t-shirt like, leave him alone, he's triggered. Like, I know life has to happen. This is just so hard to watch as a parent. And then finally, he's supposed to go back to school on Monday, yesterday. We've been home for a week. We've gone through all these things I'm explaining to you. And he gets a substitute teacher. So if you remember anything from last year, substitute teachers are like a bad word. In Liam's world, because all the things he knows and all of his safe people, like, he needs his safe people. So if you mess with that and you change that, and if you turn that upside down, we're going to have a problem. So even last year, substitute teachers were one of the reasons for his biggest upheaval at school. And then when he had to start over at Glade Hill, anytime there was a substitute, there was usually a call from the principal or an incident or something like that where the guidance counselor would have to come in, or the play therapist would go in and work with them, because it was just such a huge issue. Well, didn't he get a substitute teacher yesterday? And he loves his teacher, so he's like so scared. I can even imagine he wants her. He doesn't know where she is. He wants to know she's safe. She's gone. I'm sure they gave him a reason or said when she was back, but all he knew, she was going to be gone, I think 2 days. So he is like beside him. So he comes home and tells him he had a substitute teacher. And I'm sitting here going like, how come I didn't get a phone call? Like, how come I didn't get an email? I need to text his substitute. Which thankfully, she was the sweetest, most wonderful, almost like a family friend. So it was a kind of sort of safe person, but it was just messing with everything with Liam. This was huge. So substitute, I'm making a mental note. I've got to text her and find out what happened. I just encourage Liam, like, you made it. I know it's not you love your teacher. She'll be back. You know, everything's going to be okay. I'm so proud of you. You made it with your substitute. What a great job. So he goes on, does his chores. Before I can message his substitute teacher, I get a message from her. Hey, she just wanted to let me know Liam was absolutely wonderful today. He did such a good job. She just wanted to let me know that he had a lot of conversation at school about his biological dad and how he was in jail, or even Liam said prison, was sharing with the class or his teacher about his dad. And she said she just wanted to let me know in case that was like triggering something for him a little bit later. These are the people that I have on my team. Like, these are the people that are loving on this kid. And I had already called our, gosh, what is she? She's not our counselor. Our, gosh, sorry guys, words are hard right now. This is so emotional. Medical, that we'll call her our therapist, a psychiatrist for Liam. And I had tried calling in the morning, but the phones were down, and it turns out there's some glitch. If you have Verizon phones, they don't play well with the phones at the counseling center. So hooray. So thankfully our friends at Intercept, I was able to text them, and they literally sent our therapist an email. So she called me by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I unloaded on her all the things. I hadn't been able to talk with her the last 2 telemed appointments. I had like a fill-in because she was either on vacation or just inundated with patients, and Liam was doing so well. I just needed to check in, let them know he's okay, all the things. At this point, when he's been going through so much for 2 weeks, like, my heart is like so heavy, and I'm sitting here going like, am I doing right by this kid? Like, we have gone backwards 10 steps, not really, but sort of. Like, does he have the right meds? Are they the right doses? Am I doing right by him as a mom? Like, I don't even know what is happening. The sky is falling. This kid has gotten lambasted by life and all the things, and I'm just like, I don't even know if we're doing right by him, if we need to be doing something different. So she sat there and heard me out. We were on the phone for almost 30 minutes. I laid it all on the line, all the losses, everything he'd been through, all the things he'd been facing the past week, 10 days, and how he was handling it, how we were handling it. And I just spoke the whole thing. And even as I'm saying it, I'm shaking, I'm like emotional, explaining everything. And she is like, oh my gosh, you know, she's hearing me. I told her all the things. I called it what it was, explained it all, put it all out there, and I'm like, just set me straight. Like, what do we need to be doing? And her response to me was, oh my gosh, you guys are doing so good. You guys are doing amazing. I am so proud of Liam. I am so proud of you guys. If there was an award for foster and adoptive parents, it would be the Wall family. I love the way that you're handling this. I am so proud of all of you. Look how far you've come. So to hear that from somebody else, and to hear that from an outsider, she barely knows our family. You know, she's seen us for the past 1.5 years, and she did see Liam in the beginning, but you can't explain it when you say to somebody in an office what it was. You know, it's never the same as when you're actually there and in it. So this person on the phone And for her to encourage us like that, when I'm sitting here thinking like she's going to give me more pointers, or I totally missed this, or I totally bombed that, and I totally fell short for Liam. And when she sits there and says like, can you believe that in the middle of his trauma, in the middle of his triggers, he's able to use his words? Like, that is so, so incredible. So then she goes to tell me, she's not our original therapist. They work together in office, but there was a girl who originally saw him like way back in the beginning when he needed an evaluation. And at the time, it was pretty much not even an option for Liam to have any medicine at all. His parents were just adamantly opposed, and to be honest, Tim and I were too, because we had only had that generation, 20 years ago, where there was only Ritalin and it barely worked, or it either just made you a zombie or this or that, or so I'm not trying to knock anything like that, but then coming at it from a Christian perspective, then we were trying to figure out our own convictions and where we felt about medicine and where we stood on all of that, and like trying to find biblical wisdom and like not going against what's in our conscience. But for us at the time, because he wasn't even allowed by his biological parents, like we would have had to get a court order and fight it if it would have even been allowed at that time. And we were just trying to get him to heal. We were just trying to find like where he was at. We were trying to see where he was. So it all kind of worked out where he originally saw our first therapist, and then we were like, okay, well, obviously we can't really do anything right now. We're going to do melatonin. We eventually got permission for it after 5 months of nightmares and sleepwalking and all the things, and thankfully melatonin was able to work, so we didn't have to have anything, more than that. So that's how we survived until he really hit some brick walls where we were figuring out now was his development. He was really lacking some things that we started to go down that path. So that original counselor works with, the two ladies work together. And so as she sat with me on the phone, she was explaining to me how very often she will ask how Liam is doing and how things are going, because she just can't believe how good he's doing. And when she hears the reports about how far he's come, and like, I can't see it. I mean, I saw him like rolling around on the floor and like couldn't even look someone in the face and like scared to death and like dumping the slime in the Legos upside down on the carpet, and so scared of everybody and everything. I remember one appointment, he actually took like handcuffs or like rope or something, like totally wrapped it. He had to handcuff me, like he had to have some kind of control over what was going on in his life and lay it on the line. And that was his behavior. And so to know that they are talking about how far he's come and how amazing it is. And then she said to me on the phone, we know, thank God for medicine. She said that several times. Aren't we so glad for modern medicine? You have to know that it is like a non-dose, what Liam is on right now, like of the medicine that he has. It's not even considered like a legit real dose, and we cut the pills in half. Like that's how minimal of a medicine he is. But as a mom, I'm like, everything he's facing, he's growing, maybe he needs more. The 2 calls with the other therapist over the summer, she had suggested maybe adjusting it. We were trying to get him off the medicine at this point. Like it was supposed to be like a 1-year healing recovery type of a thing. So I'm condemning myself, like we're totally missing that. It's going to be a year soon and we're not even close to, being done. And all these thoughts are going through my head, and she's sitting here telling me, this is perfect. Like we're doing great. He's doing so good. So I tell you all that today because I painted this picture for you, because my heart yesterday went from this heavy, I don't even know where we're headed. I've failed this kid. Like our family is hurting so bad. I don't even know what we're doing. I just laid it all out there, gave her the whole piece, told her everything. I put it all in the light. I thought it was the worst thing in the whole wide world. And she gave me her professional opinion, her medical opinion, and her personal opinion. And all of it was, you're doing such a good job. He's doing so good. I just want to encourage you, like, not to be afraid of taking your things and speaking them out and calling it like it is and telling it like it is and bringing it out into the light and running it past your people and seeing the victory in the situation. Like, not to be afraid. I was so heavy and I was so afraid. I knew I had to make this phone call. I knew I had to let her know what was going on. And I was so sure I was going to hear, okay, we got to do this and we got to up this and we got to change this and you guys need to work on this. And instead, all I got was, look how far you've come. So the freedom that I got from that phone call, the release that I got from that phone call, I just want to encourage you. You might think it looks bad. You might know it feels bad. But when you bring that out into the open and you bring it into the light and you talk with your people and run it past the people that really know you and love you and care about you and can give you an honest sounding board, and they're going to say, but hey, look how far you've come. So yeah, we're triggered. We're going through a lot. It's been a lot of loss. It's been a lot of hard things. It's been a very emotional few weeks. Never mind what the past 6 months of our lives have been. All of us. But all that to say, like, what a milestone memorial marker to say, look how far you've come. Look how far we've come. You know, it might feel like we're hitting the same wheel over and over and over again, but it's not true. You know, fights that used to last all day and change our whole family for days at a time, and behaviors that used to get us kicked out of school and phone calls and notes home and off the school bus and all the things that go along with that, they're not anymore. Like, they're diffused in 30 minutes at the most. Liam can cry now, and he never could before. He can use words in the middle of traumatic, hard situations, and that was impossible a year ago. It was impossible, and it wouldn't happen. And 2 and 3 years ago, it looked like it was never going to happen. So I just want to encourage you, when you give love and you walk in the Lord, there is nothing that is impossible. When love is always going to win. And we are not perfect, and we have a lot of work to do, but I think we're going to on this side of heaven. I don't think it's ever going to stop. There's always going to be a work to be done, and there's always going to be things that we have to do. But when you can push through that, and you can push forward, and you can do the hard things, and you can go through on the other side to say, yeah, that was bad, and even now we're in a tough spot, but we're not where we used to be, and we've come so far. If you can just encourage yourself and get a window, get your friend, get your buddy, get your sister, get your friends, your bestie, to remind you where you were and where you are now. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's better, that's what you need to celebrate. I hope that helps somebody today. That was a lot for us, and I've been quiet this week because we've been going through a lot this week, and I don't know if I had the right things to say at the right time. I was scared I was going to say the wrong thing and hurt somebody, but at least now at this point I can let you know. Go through and remind yourself, get your people. It might not be where you want to be, but you're probably better than what you were a year ago, and if you are, then take a deep breath and reward yourself and just celebrate, because that's the victory and that's the freedom, is that we're headed in the right direction. We're going the right way. It might take longer, it might be harder, it might not be the path that you would have chosen, but it's still better. So there's hope. Hope is everything. I think that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm rooting for you, and we're going to get through this together, one day at a time.